Weekdays from midday. Perspectives. Conversations that matter.
The issues. Everybody respected that because it was coming from the president.
Theory behind it, the way the people took the battle in their hands.
Some civil servant retire without a roof over his head.
The cause.
If we cannot trust you, then you cannot take the ticket of this country. Hussein cannot be divorced from those who cause the crime. Honestly.
The passion.
You must have national spread. So where is it?
Why are you so concerned about that? If someone was...
I never...
No.
The platform is always the same.
Insight on Citizen FM 93.7.
The source is constant.
My name is Lawrence Umoite.
There is always an opportunity.
Tomorrow Insight returns with another interesting...
Insight with Lawrence Umoite on Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja. Be part.
You know the bed feels warmer, sleeping here alone. I'm lonely when I'm alone. What doesn't kill you makes it lighter. What's that feeling lighter? Doesn't mean I'm over, 'cause you're gone. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
So it's our day. You can do absolutely anything you want to do. Sorry, I had to leave what they call it, the first part of the song. I went straight into the heart of the matter. I needed that, the chorus to kick in properly. It's 21 minutes gone past midday. You are still tuning and listening to Perspectives. Sorry, you're tuning and listening to Citizen FM 93.17 in Lorry. Okay, there's something going on today. Let me confess quickly. So this morning when I woke up, in fact for days, I had been anticipating International Women's Day. It's one of my most exciting times of the year. And, you'll find out in the course of the show why. So I was excited that, another International Women's Day has come. And it's the beginning of so many Women's Days, that we celebrate all through the year. And so it is on that note I say good afternoon, welcome to Perspectives. I have a full house today, so that's why I'm really excited. As in women of all different shades and colors and hair textures and skin tones. I am really, really excited to have you in the studios. Good afternoon, ladies.
Hey, y'all.
That's the energy. So we're going to dive in very, very, very quickly. It's International Women's Day 2023, and it falls on a Wednesday. I like that it's a weekday. I like that everything is just banging. I've gone over social media this morning, and I like the responses. I like the this energy that I'm seeing out there. And this afternoon, I was going to say this. I hope that this year's International Women's Day will serve as a reminder of the enormous influence women have across sectors, whether in the economic industry, whether in the tech industry, which we're going to come to in a bit. So women, wherever it is you are, stand up and give yourselves a thundering applause because you have done amazing. In this century, women have done well. Women have done awesome. So I'm joined by phenomenal women. So let me quickly introduce my guest. I have Her Excellency Ada Maxidi. If you didn't know, this woman here is going to be a first female president in Nigeria. Even though it did not happen for her in 2023, 2027 is around the corner. I mean it. So she's actually come out to run for office in our Nigeria. But you know how it is they be now. We had an abysmally low turnout in this 2023 election. Women did not have a good showing at all. And I'm surprised about that. But we'll come to that in a bit also. So Ada Maxidi, thank you so much for joining us in the studio this afternoon.
Yay, Women's Day, girls.
Yes.
Hey.
And our phenomenal co-host, 2IC, phenomenal media strategist, Joy Asionye, mother of 3.
Yay!
I see one by your waist.
Yeah, exactly.
I got your waist. And of course, Shikelola. She's a social activist and so many, many, many things. She's a Gen Z, but she does not behave like Gen Z.
I'm a millennial. She's totally rejecting them. She's like, I reject being a Gen Z.
No, but she's a cerebral young woman who I've known from way back, and we haven't seen in 5 years, and so we just picked up where we left off. And so thank you so much for joining me in the studio this afternoon. And last but not the least, you seem like the youngest. You are the Gen Z or Gen Alpha. You actually look like it. So we have a full table. We have Ocheklie. Did I pronounce that correctly?
You got it.
Halima Tusadia from the Swag Initiative. Swag stands for
Stand with a Girl Initiative.
Stand with a Girl Initiative. So thank you so much, ladies, for joining me this afternoon. So we're just going to get into it because we're like 5 minutes behind the clock, and I know there's plenty to say. So the rights of women is not about the fall of man. We've been saying that, you know, over the years, but some people are not getting the gist, right? And the most important thing we know, we all agree on this table, is that we need to see more women in leadership positions across board, right? But at the current rates, they said it would take 300 years. Who said that? Let me play that for you. That was said by the United Nations Secretary General just yesterday, actually. Wow. His name is Antonio Guterres, and this is what he had to say on the matter. So let me just play a quick listen on that. What they call it, inserts. It's not coming through. So let's just keep having a conversation. Once I find that, you'll come to it. So how far will you say we have come? I'm going to start with you. You know why? Because you took up the I don't think any one of you has run for office before, apart from maybe prefects. You not even campaign for that one, right? In uni days, maybe uni days, right? But you took the gauntlet, right? Mm-hmm. You say you are going for the top job in the office, not because I want you to see your vote. I didn't know you were I love the guts. So how far will you say we have come across the world, and especially here in Nigeria? How far will you say that the women not emancipation, the women asking for equal rights, asking for, just some form of modicum of saying, give us a seat at the table? Have we come? Would you say we have done well or we have gone back? The UN Secretary General, he actually said yesterday that it will take us 300 years to get there at the current rate that we're going. And of course, he cited a couple of examples. He cited Iran, he cited Afghanistan. Surprisingly, he didn't mention Africa. So, but will you say we have come quite far? Will you say there's progress? Will you say that no, not so?
Sorry to disappoint Antonio.
Yeah.
You know what? We're doing pretty well. But I'm going to agree with something shady that he said, just to kick us in the butt to do more.
Yeah.
He said it to take us 300 years, and you know what? I think if we look at that stats, Joy, I think what all of us are saying is, I think we need to not in my own lifetime,
not even in lifetime.
Yeah. So I think we're going to speed up, race up, and put in 2 legs in, and the whole chicken body. Make sure that we're doing way more than we ever thought we were doing, so we can push all the countries on the African continent. There has to be a mass movement, citizens movement, deliberate, support women in power.
Thank you so much for that. Shikalola, what do you think? She says we're not doing so bad. What do you think?
I think I concur with her.
Yeah.
Because the journey of 1,000 miles begin with tiny steps.
Absolutely.
So if you look at the way, let's start with the statistics. Back in the days, you see girls, a lot of the rate of out of school girls is way more than that of boys. But if you look at it today, the primary school and secondary school enrollment rate for girls have gone way up.
Yes.
And for me, that is progress.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't talk about women empowerment without knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And when they are empowered, when they have the knowledge, then they can do whatever they want to do and translate it to income. So I think we're making progress. The 300 years, I think maybe some part of the world, but not Africa.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
I like that. So Halima, you work with Swag.
Yes.
Stand with the Girl Initiative. I know you guys have been around for a while. Based on what they have said, do you agree, or do you? I mean, you are the one on the field. You are the one that sees so many out of school girls. You are the one, So do you agree with that?
I would say that to a great extent, I do agree with what you say. We have come a long way, and we see it in education, we see it in health. Everywhere there are women represented, but there's still that huge gap. Recently, there's the data that came out that Nigeria has about 20 million out of school children.
It's there from 12 when
yes.
this administration took office, so we have
20 million. It has grown by about 76.9%, and then 62% of that are girls, and it means that about 12 million girls are out of school as compared to boys. So there's still that gap. And then as it relates to politics, we see that a lot of women are targeted when they run for political office, and there's gender-based violence even on that level. So as much as we have done so much, there's still a long way for us to go. And I'm happy because there are women who are saying, I'm getting there, I'm doing it, and it will get done. And so that's the mindset.
If you want to end the show on that, so Joy, it's your turn. I really want to hear your input on this. Women's Helping Women International.
100 years.
You know,
300.
I've always been that person who, I don't want to sound very pessimistic, but if you look at the return tickets that were offered to legislators in Nigeria, there were just 16. 16 women. That is even less than it was in 2019. So I am really concerned, and we always say it, especially on perspective here. These are people who do not have an idea what the situation of a woman is, and so might not be able to push forward the proper representation needed for women. So while 300 years sounds alarming, I am just as concerned, and the ladies are right. We have recorded appreciable successes here and there in very many sectors, even in the ICT that today's theme is about. That's digital innovation and technology. However, there is so much more to be done in a contemporary world where there's so much competition, and so if we find ourselves not having that, first of all, the representation needed to have targeted and intentional programs and initiatives for the girl child and for the woman to thrive, it further pushes us backwards. Look at it like this: for every 10 men that succeed, instead of having and 10 women not succeeding, it is taking the entire world backwards. So if we are not seeing that balance and equitable, I'm not waiting for that word. I'm not for equality. I'm for equity. If we are not seeing that balance and equity in progress, I don't see progress. It might take us 300 years. In Nigeria, it might even take us even longer. Maybe they should do that.
All right. So this is a good place. We've all agreed that there's progress, but so now let us look at the issues, the things that will escalate us to the point that, you know, where we want to get to, that it will not take 300 years. Let's break the issues down into numbers. I know Joy is there. It was only Joy. We were talking about International Sports Day, and I said I want to celebrate all the female athletes in Nigeria.
And Joy gave you.
Joy said women should not be in sports. Wow. So
Debbie down now.
She said that on the wings of Toby Amuson and her successes last year, and she's still rolling in their words. I mean,
Venus Williams will smack you in the face.
You know, our ladies had a great outing last year, and the accolades still keep coming. Even the first part of
even
this year.
Shoma Ajunwa was a woman who set the.
My goodness,
she set the pace, and Nigerian males knew they had to wake up.
I think I totally agree with that. A woman can be whatever or wherever. She can be whatever she wants.
Joy, I'm a sportswoman.
There shouldn't be any guidance. Let every woman decide for
herself.
I mean, that's a personal opinion. Actually, I don't think
only because Joy can't run.
That's your own opinion.
Yes, it's completely my opinion.
So Joy, I am advocating at the moment for women and male, joint boxing, joint, MMA. Let me tell you the truth. Let me surprise you. Let me surprise you. Wait, let me surprise you. Guess what? Have you seen
meet men?
No, listen to this.
I'm talking from the health perspective, from the hormonal perspective.
Good. No, let me surprise you.
Levels of testosterone, and testosterone has the quality of giving men their strength.
Yes.
So I won't.
No, I'll surprise you. Let me surprise you. You haven't seen international sports to know how far we've come. And I'll tell you a joker. Look, you undermine the capacity of women based on our history. Our history. Okay. When you're starting off as an egg and you are told that you are a weaker vessel, let me surprise you. You start to, your mind is contoured into a position of weakness. Absolutely. You do not know how far you can go. There are persons who, let me tell you something, when we were growing up, I like what you said, our hormones are different. I wish when I was way younger that my parents had supported some of the moves I was trying to make. And by now, I would have checked out on the mommy list and haven't done all the things I needed to do at the right age.
Yeah.
But when you don't do that, then, we negate the strength of what you can do at a certain age. But I'll tell you something. We are remarkably unbelievable in both strength, wisdom, understanding, and our capacity to multitask. So I'll tell you something, even in the field of strength, go out and see, especially when they start from early. In swimming, women can challenge men.
Yeah.
Try me.
It's in the water, there's no physical, nobody's fighting anyone, so everybody's in their own space.
Yeah.
Okay. She does not agree. Okay, you know what? We'll take this. I will join.
But my dad used to say, "Please, baby, I don't want you having those big muscles, but I wanted some."
If you've just tuned in and you're wondering what is the cacophony about, well, it's International Women's Day. We have officially begun the year. It's even our month. The whole of March is International Women's Month. And so this year, March 8th, is International Women's Day. The theme for this year is Digital Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality. And so on this day, we are celebrating all the women folk in every sector. If you, whether it's your sister, your mother, one female in your life, I'm sure you can celebrate them. So please, we look forward to hearing from you as we're having this conversation. If you'd like to chip in, you can just send us a message on WhatsApp on 0818 22 22 205, 0818 22 22 206. So let's quickly take this conversation somewhere. So while I was preparing for the show today, I looked up at the TV and I saw this amazing woman, Yaolo Shuka, that's what we call her in Yoruba.
Yes.
Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala.
Yes.
And so they have a World Trade Organization International Women's Day chat. And so she's told the story of how she and Christine Lagarde met for the first time. Christine Lagarde is the president of the IMF. Yes. So she said that on her first day in office, they introduced her and said, "Oh, this is going to be the person that you'll be relating with." And so Christine Lagarde came in and said, "Oh, you're just resuming. I have something for you to do." So they looked at each other and said, "Between us women, we can get it done." And so it was a beautiful conversation, and both of them remembered. So gender balance, they say, is not solely a woman's issue, but it's also an economic issue. And they were pointing to the fact that if the women have more buying power, the society, would you like
balance? Start from here.
You want to talk about that? So please go on.
Yeah. So you can't talk about gender equality without talking about empowerment. Yeah. And empowerment starts from education, like I said earlier. Yes. And if you look at it all around us today, we are seeing more women participating in economic activities. Absolutely. And it's really changing the trend of things.
Yes.
When you empower women, there is no choice without empowerment.
Yes.
It starts from the choice from how you want to live, who you want to be with, everything. That thing they call stomach infrastructure.
Yes.
It's really essential that women get it right, and it starts from the education. And maybe later I'll talk about this. It is high time, based on the leverage we now have in the society. Society now understand. Over the years, we've demanded for equality, and they've listened. Yeah. Of course, some are still putting up some resistance, no. But of course, it's a matter of time we get it done. But if women are empowered, they make good choices. As you can see in today's world, the marriageable age, like number of women who get married, the marriageable age has shifted up a bit.
18 in Nigeria now. I think they've enforced
majority.
It's 18.
I'm not even talking about from the legal age, but from the choice age for women.
Like what she was saying earlier on, that if you finish all the things, you can marry at any time you want.
Women are now very decisive about that. They have a stance on it, like, I'm not ready. I want to pursue other interests.
Yes.
Of course, some want to do it early. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always of this opinion that everybody should do what makes them happy. Nobody should come and enforce any opinion on anybody in any aspect of life.
Yeah.
That is where one of the things when we're talking about gender equality, it has to do with choice. If a woman wants to be want to act all macho, do whatever she wants to do, let's have her do it. And if the next woman chooses to be like, I want to just be a mom, I want to stay at home,
leave her alone.
Let her be. It's a matter of choice. So gender equality and choice can never be separated. That is it for me.
Thank you so much, Kelola. You want to say something?
Yeah,
Please
to what you said, there's this Chinese proverb that says that women hold half the sky. So the sky would not be up if women are not holding their part of it. So we are such an important part of every single sector, every single position, everything you can think of. So women, it's a necessity that women and men join the conversation for gender equality, because it is all of our business. It's not a woman's business, like you said. It's all of our business, because if you don't tap into the power and the resource and the mind that the women have, then we have lost out on something so huge. And I think that's very important, that we actually emphasize the need to have more male voices joining us in the conversation of equality.
You know, I'm going to this is Ada speaking. That was Uche who just said something. Halima, let me use that easier. We actually, I like Joy was saying earlier that I just returned from a bilateral relations
conference.
Yes, that happened in the US. Now, it was based on the DEIA, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. The truth here is this. It seems like people are not following the trends. They're not seeing that the world is fast advancing beyond where we were. Nowadays, we have men. And, when I want to talk about these issues, I'm blunt to a T. And hold me accountable. I'll tell you
that's one of the things that we admire about women now, which is what you were saying. Like, we're bolder and we can do...
Sweetheart, I'll tell you exactly how it is. There are men now thriving in the female world.
Absolutely.
So we demand for equality. I'll tell you why. If they haven't seen the value of what, it means to be a woman, I don't think that more men will be converting into becoming women. And I'll use one for an example. Yeah, you may call him transgender. I call him a man trying to be a woman and living well at doing it, but risky. And by the way, I celebrate him on this day. Yes,
let us have this conversation.
Yes, I'm doing this deliberately.
Let us have this
because let me tell you something. We were here first. There is something to be said about understanding the place of a woman in society. There is no growth in an economy. There is no growth in any given society if we are undermined. If the society and the leaders that we have had over time, which is more than 70% male, do not understand what they have lost economically. Because of undermining the role and the position of women in society, then I think that I will recommend heavy-duty psychological analysis on this person's. Because tell you the truth, give a girl a loaf of bread, she will feed 10,000.
Absolutely.
But give a male, in most cases, 10 loaves of bread, he will save all for himself. Why do I say so? And argue all you want, listeners.
Hold on to your question.
Yes. Argue all you want, but the truth is, I'm a woman, and I will be the first to remember. Oh, there are children in the lounge. Oh, my neighbor has a daughter. Oh, even if it's not mine, there are unhealthy children on the street. Honey, I think we need to go and take food out there. The reasons are enormous, And by the way, when we talk about women's contribution to economic growth, I was on the show hosted by Joy Asonye here, who is a tyrant journalistically. And I did not hold back to mention that there are projects, the thinker's brain. Think about it scientifically. It's been proven. Women mature faster than men. Now, if we have been given the opportunity and an enabling environment to work, I'm sure when Kike Lomo, go and search her history, or Halima, or even Joy, when we were, at least any of us, because maybe when we were 4, 5, 6, were inventors, creating ideas that people did not even take seriously. Now we need to start looking at a world where the girl child and and the boy child, because I stand strongly to say it should be equitable. But don't just leave, the case of saying, oh, you're strong, be like this, and then forget to create an equitable playing ground for everybody. Because if half of our ideas have been implemented in society, we would not be here 300 years back. From the sort of growth we should have seen in society.
Thank you so much for that, Adamak. Once again, if you'd like to make your contributions, the number to send it to is 0818 2222 Hold that thought. I have to go on this quick commercial break. It's quite a long, it's like about 2 minutes long. But stay with us on Perspectives this afternoon. The conversation is actually hot, especially what you mentioned. We'll be back shortly.
Let's go there.
93.7 Citizen FM.
Let's talk about it on our favorite radio station.
We're more than just a radio station. We are a part of your life.
This call to prayer is sponsored by the Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على حي على الصلاة
teach girls shame. Close your legs, cover yourself. We make them feel as though by being born female, they're already guilty of something.
So I think right now we have the chance to be heard, and that's why we're doing it. We're all doing it because we're asking to try and elicit change.
No woman should sit down and allow a man to speak about her reproductive rights.
But it is about opening spaces for other women and not to be seen as token, and that because I'm a woman, I'm only speaking about women at the table. No, I'm speaking about side of the table that is empty and that women have to be there. So
I want us to leave this world better than we found it. And how I choose to affect change is by speaking up, by being the first, and by being the dominant.
Over 4 billion of the world's population are girls and women, also faced with challenges that affect our world and contributing solutions to them. Let's have conversations and get some answers to them through their eyes and voices. Tune in to Perspectives, where we discuss important issues ranging from climate change, politics, health, the economy, and lifestyle on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. Weekdays from midday. Perspectives. Conversations that matter.
Investigations, special report, analysis, and breaking.
I'm unstoppable. This conversation has to continue right now. Welcome back. We have about 10 minutes more till we go for our news at the top of the hour. But it is really hot in the studio this afternoon. Let me tell you what led to it. Today is International Women's Day. And when you have women when you have just one woman, she can do multiple effects. Talk less of when you have 5 women in the studio. So today's International Women's Day 2023. It is an occasion to consider the step we have taken so far towards achieving gender equity. Yeah, because we keep saying equality, right? So as well as the work that remains to be done to guarantee that women have equal opportunities and rights in all spheres of life. And I have in the studio phenomenal, I will not call her tyrant, so she's a media strategist. Joy in the studio. I have Joy, I have Adama Kasioyi, and of course Shikelola and Halima. So I love the energy. There's a lot of bustling, there's a lot of angles. So if you want in on the conversation, you have to call in 0818-2222-205. Women don't call on radio stations. We've been saying this over the years. Whether it's politics, if it's a women's show, women will not call. If it's a health show, women don't call. And so it goes to what you're saying. You said something just before we went on the break, and I said you should hold that thought. Everyone can play a role in forging gender parity, right? And you said this is the part that we have not mentioned on the show today, which is that we don't have men having this conversation with us, but that women owe themselves a responsibility. Shikelola, it's you I've been talking to. You said we owe ourselves the responsibility of taking up. So please expatiate more on that.
Okay, in the society, I don't like the idea of, I believe in one being accountable and responsible for our actions.
Yes.
A lot of times there is little. The only thing, like, let's look at the society, let's look at it from a macro level. Yeah. When we're looking at the issue of equity or gender equality, let me look at it from 3 lenses.
Okay.
I'll look at it from the angle of government, creating an enabling environment and policies that will ensure diversity in the workplace and in the society and in government and everything. But when we're talking about diversity is a policy, but inclusiveness is a choice.
Yes.
So, and that is where the businesses comes in. In every organization, if you make an intentional decision that, okay, if I'm having on this board, if I'm employing for every team, let's say for a team of 10, at least we must have 5 women 50-50.
Yes.
But when you're talking about equality, sometimes some people won't be okay. I've not yet done. I've spoken from the angle of business. But let's make it 50-50, right?
50-50, yes.
Then now from the angle of individual, as an individual, you hold yourself the choice and the responsibility to be better at what you do every day.
Excellence only.
Let me come to the issue, like to the theme of this year's International Women's Day celebration that has to do with innovation and
digital technology
and innovation for gender equality. You can't talk about digital transformation and digital innovation without the need to be flexible, to be adaptable, and to be innovative. As an individual, you must be open-minded and ready to reinvent your wheel. Every year, new job roles are coming, and we keep shouting unemployment. There are jobs, but most people are not qualified for the available jobs. So what are you doing as a woman
to develop yourself,
to make yourself better
and relevant?
I'm in the tech space, and I understand one thing: there is so much policies on inclusiveness that will benefit a woman, that will benefit women. There are so many NGOs who are out there who are willing to educate or help women transcend into the digital space. I don't want to mention names now. There are so many of them.
Django Girls.
Let me even start with Google.
Yeah.
There are so many things on Google. Like you have so many courses on Coursera that is sponsored by Google, and I've benefited from for data science, data analytics, data science, for this project management. The more courses you take on Coursera, the more opportunity you get. They will just offer it to you okay, you can keep taking courses for free. So what role are you playing in your own personal development and growth? Don't blame the society for that. Because I can't come and pick you if I have a business. Even if I'm a woman, I won't recruit you if you're not qualified.
Exactly.
You need to be qualified. You need to be ready. So that when the opportunities come in, you'll be able to leverage in on it. And to be honest, women make fantastic. In my team where I work, we have a lot of women, and they're all fantastic women, great leaders. My boss is a fantastic woman, and so many. So when you empower a woman, you've empowered the whole society. But women need to be more intentional and they step up their game. Take responsibility for their growth.
Halima, you wanted to comment? Go on.
I totally agree that women, of course, need to step up. And yes, we see women stepping up in every sphere. The truth is, there is virtually no sphere that you can look at now that you don't see a woman thriving. But then we cannot dissociate the realities that make it hard for women to not step up. Now we talk about education being the foundation for every other thing. We know that women are basically, what's the word for it? Women are the gender balance when it comes to enrollment, retention, and even finishing from school for women is lesser than men. You go to a lot of communities, there's still that mindset that people have that women should only fill in certain positions, and there's a conditioning that happens for women. So imagine that you're a young girl and you are told that the only way that you can pursue STEM is that maybe you should become a nurse, and that's where it's limited for you. A woman should be a nurse, but then when it comes to a doctor, and it may seem that for some of us who have had the privilege of growing up in what I would say middle to maybe upper class, we think it's easy. But then you meet a girl in a community and she tells you, I want to apply for JAM and nursing, and then you just ask out of interest, why don't you go for being a doctor? And they say, wow, I can be a doctor. And for me it is strange because I grew up in, I would say, a relatively middle class family, and not just far from me, a girl who had just come to stay in with someone in my neighborhood was asking me this question. I was initially shocked, how are you asking me if you can be a doctor? I thought we had covered this. But it's easy to be in your own sphere and think that people know. But that's not the case. So when we say women should step up to the plate, have we done enough empowerment? Because we are dealing with a mindset here. It has been conditioned for years. So we have to do the work of breaking that conditioning before we can say, women are not doing enough. Until we have done enough for them to know they can do enough, we cannot blame them for not doing enough.
I hope that's with these argument. 2 words of mine that have because that's very, thank you so much. That was beautiful, Halima. Because we've always said that the problem in Nigeria is not economical. It is not social. It is the mind, the mindset. If we don't reorientate our people, if we don't start, breaking all these, what they call it, barriers, and so, but to do that, again, our leaders are reflective of the kind of people that we are. So it always comes down to elective office. But see, I know it's a long thing. Let me just give you 1 minute to say this, because we have to go on the news and that has come to take over the political scene, right? And they are holding everybody by the, the jugular. Let me use a nice word to say it. And to say that so many women rode on this platform. I want to use the example of Ireti Kingibe. Before last week or before 2 weeks ago, I have never heard of the woman. I only heard of her because I was doing perspectives and compiling the list of Nigerian women who are actively taking part in politics this year. I said, there's a senator from the FCT for the year 2023. So I was so impressed. I was so happy that, a woman was, and I'm glad she won the seat. Imagine if we did a job 2019 or we did and prepared ourselves for 2023 to say, so many women should come out across board, across Nigeria, and they would have just ridden on this wave very easily, and they would have gotten to where they will have what? Don't worry. They will have the representation that we're looking for. Then we know that a woman will think that there's a woman like Halima spoke about. This is how we can help her. Oh, there's a woman in the IDP camp right now. She needs something, So across board, we'll be able to. It will give us the ripple effects that we're looking for. That many men keep ignoring because they are thinking of something else entirely. So I have to go on this break. Sorry, Shikelola. I wish I could ledge, but I needed to say that. So just to agree with her that we don't have the representation that we want in the places that we want.
All the support system enough
to get the results that we are looking for. So this is a good place to take that break. But when we come back, I definitely this time around. I think
are we on break?
Yes, but let's take that break.
That's so funny.
I was like, close your legs, cover yourself. We make them feel as though by being born female, they're already guilty of something.
So I think right now we have the chance to be heard, and that's why we're doing it. We're all doing it because we're asking to try and elicit change.
No woman should sit down and allow a man to speak about her reproductive rights.
But it is about opening spaces for other women and not to be seen as token, and that because I'm a woman, I'm only speaking about women at the table. No, I'm speaking about side of the table that is empty and that women have to be there. So
I want us to leave this world better than we found it. And how I choose to affect change is by speaking up, by being the first, and by being the dominant.
Over 4 billion of the world's population are girls and women, also faced with challenges that affect our world and contributing solutions to them. Let's have conversations and get some answers to them through their eyes and voices. Tune in to Perspectives, where we discuss important issues ranging from climate change, politics, health, the economy, and lifestyle on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. Weekdays from midday. Perspectives. Conversations that matter.
This is 93.7 Citizen FM Abuja. Time for news on the hour.
It's 1 o'clock. Thanks for staying with us here on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. Here's the news on the hour. Aro Shafe, who featured as Fade Yoloro in Arelu, a classic Yoruba TV series of the 80s, died Tuesday evening. Fashion Obidemi Oluwafunke, the actor's daughter, confirmed his demise. The movie star had battled an undisclosed ailment for a couple of years. He was born in September 1957 in Igbara, Udo, Ekiti. He gained fame during the cinematic era for his antagonistic roles and energetic recitation of incantations in Yoruba movies. He also featured in hundreds of films like Alagbara Ilu, Jagmino, Inu Bibi, and Ija Abija. The Lagos State government says it has commenced the release of impounded vehicles to their owners free of charge. The state said the decision is part of its efforts to ease the sufferings of Lagosians brought about by the Naira redesign policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The vehicles to be released are those impounded for minor offences. This was disclosed by the Lagos State Commissioner for Transportation, Frederick Oladende. Oladende added that there are some people that committed offences during that period, and that the fact that money wasn't easy to come by. Looking at the governor's magnanimity, the governor has deemed it fit to ensure that people who committed crimes within that period and wanted to pay or couldn't pay as a result of the shortage of cash should come and pick up their cars, and he has waived the fines. Richard Hugh Montgomery has been appointed as the new British High Commissioner to Nigeria. The United Kingdom government announced his appointment in a statement Tuesday. Montgomery succeeds Catriona Liang, who has been the UK's representative in Nigeria since 2018. Montgomery served as the Councillor for Development and Head of Office, Department of International Development, DFID Abuja, from 2009 till 2013. The diplomat has also held executive development roles in Zambia, Bangladesh, India, and Pakistan.
Montgomery is expected to begin his new role in April 2023. And that's it on the Citizen FM News on the Hour. It's Back on Perspective, where we're discussing International Women's Day. Thanks for listening. Good afternoon.
Abuja. Wake up. Reach out. Speak up. Speak out. You are the voice of a new generation. And this is your station. Talk Radio 93.7 Citizen FM.
We teach girls shame. Close your legs, cover yourself. We make them feel as though by being born female, they're already guilty of something.
So I think right now we have the chance to be heard, and that's why we're doing it. We're all doing it because we're asking to try and elicit change.
No woman should sit down and allow a man to speak about her reproductive rights.
But it is about opening spaces for other women and not to be seen as token, and that because I'm a woman, I'm only speaking about women at the table. No, I'm speaking about side of the table that is empty and that women have to be there. So
I want us to leave this world better than we found it. And how I choose to affect change is by speaking up, by being the first, and by being the dominant.
Over 4 billion of the world's population are girls and women, also faced with challenges that affect our world and contributing solutions to them. Let's have conversations and get some answers to them through their eyes and voices. Tune in to Perspectives, where we discuss important issues ranging from climate change, politics, health, the economy, and lifestyle on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. Weekdays from midday. Perspectives. Conversations that matter.
This is 93.7 Citizen FM, Abuja.
It's time to hear a story. Not mine this time. I'm standing in for a friend, a palette of suffering from when we were young, in whom true heroism is bestowed. In this very world of unequal fingers, this heroic friend of the mic is on. It's time to hear a story. Not mine this time. I'm standing in for a friend, a palette of suffering from when we were young, in whom true heroism is bestowed. In this very world of unequal fingers, this heroic friend of mine was an irregular kind of regular girl who chose to stand and handle as much as she could, having found her passion very early in life.
7 minutes gone past 1 p.m. Welcome back. You are still tuned in and listening to Perspectives here on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. It is a very serious issue here. So, you know what? I'm just going to leave the mic, but I cannot even coordinate again. I'm a conductor. I'm a conductor who is lost. All right, so I'm very curious as to what, when we had to go on that break, what were you people discussing? What was it about?
There's so much. I mean, when you talk about the woman and the peculiarities of a woman, can you really exhaust it?
No, we cannot. Exactly. 1 hour, 30 minutes show.
Yeah, I think, look, let's talk about the real deal here. How do we get from where we are now to where we want to be? That's
the next level.
That's what
which is what I was harping on, that if we don't get women in it, because the support that we're looking for, we still have to get people to up there.
So let's talk about it now, and let's start from somewhere.
Yeah.
Antonio, who was speaking,
UN Secretary General,
yes,
because that's how we started. He said it take us 300
So
years.
let's talk about what we can do so we don't need to wait 300 years.
Yeah.
First of all, I have to start from a point that makes serious sense for the whole world. You said he's UN Secretary General. Well, there's something I always say. If you have a pen that works, use it.
Yeah.
The whole world looks to the United Nations to make credible policies, suggestions, and laws that can govern all of the nations who are tied to the UN.
Yeah.
they have a pen that they are not using. Gender equality is not is by a long shot a sin. It's not a sin. It is they say if it is reasonable, if it can be profitable, if it will help society, do it. I think one of the first things we will be advocating from this roundhouse is for the UN to work with the individual nations to sign an all-round gender equality law. That is achievable. Let's stop this political, showware that we've been doing over time. I'm telling you, at some point, it's going to crumble in their faces. You have the capacity to tell nations this, that, and the long shot. You're forcing, as far as I'm concerned, I remember, I think, is it Uganda or one of the African nations? Rwanda
has 70% participation of women. Is that where you're going?
That is Rwanda and women. Rwanda. Now, we also have them standing up for the LGBTQ community, and they are saying that they want all the nations to support it. Now, if we go back to what we're talking about, women development, as it is that we are celebrating Women's Day today, the UN should take into serious consideration that they themselves are undermining their role in advancing gender equality across the world, because most of the nations respect what they stand for.
Well, they've lost that status over the years because, like you said, it's all grandstanding. They can't force anybody to do anything now, because if they could force, they will not be warned.
No, we're not asking them to force. We said work with individual nations.
Again, but it looks like the nations they choose. It's selective hearing for them. They choose to do whatever the UN, whatever pays them agenda. You understand? It's more to give them more money. You understand? And they're not interested. So again, I think it's the countries themselves. If we get to that point, we have to take up the gauntlet.
Okay, Halima wants to say something.
On that, the thing is that the UN cannot force any country.
Yes.
It's more like, we are here to have some type of support, but we cannot impose.
Yes.
Now, there are policies already on ground by the UN. I wouldn't say they are not playing their role. I think they are trying their best to play their role, but then they need the state to buy into these policies. Most times, Nigeria, we would sign policies.
We sign, but we don't implement it.
That we are signatories to, but it is not being implemented.
Let's start with the 1995 Beijing conference.
Exactly, we are all signatories to this.
We have signed so many things, but we're not implementing it.
And that's
our
the
own
issue.
Women rights, what they call it, that this Senate, the 9th Senate, what they call the go on.
Yeah, and then we even look at the fact that we have the Women Affairs. That was actually based on a policy. That particular ministry was created because of that, to address the women issues. And for me is that the UN is doing their part, but we actually need more women
Halima,
in political office.
Okay,
I think they are
bigger to the macro. Let's start with national.
Exactly.
UN is
far away.
National. This is us. This is what we want to do as a people. And like I keep saying, there are policies there. So let's forget about policies and let's go to the individual micro level.
Exactly.
Like I said earlier, every individual, every girl, every household need to take responsibility for the growth of their girls. I am the way I am configured because of how I grew up. From day one, I grew up from a family where I grew up, we have strong women. And makes you understand, like, I can be anything I want to be.
Yes.
And I said something earlier, it starts from the mindset. Let's girls, I think the media has a big role. People like you, Rayo, you have a bigger role.
That is why this table is here, and Joy
with the pen.
They are journalists.
The whole society, the mothers, fathers, stop making those gender roles. I don't like the gender war.
Yeah.
I believe more in equity than equality, because we are created to do different stuff.
Yes.
Women are strong women are strong people, and they've been doing fantastically well where they are.
Yes.
And if they want to be in the corporate world and everything, they can be there. It is based on choice. But I don't want us to distort the society. A man cannot be a mother, never.
No.
Let us embrace our uniqueness as women. What makes us beautiful? We run the world. Let us keep to that.
Yes.
But at the same time, I keep saying something like when the family unit, we're able to respect it. Mother, like you tell, if you have girls and boys, you make the boy understand. Like I said earlier, we need to start recruiting men into the feminism. The he for she movement has to be more pronounced and engaging. Like, you make them understand, like, we're not fighting, we're not coming to take over your role or ego. Be the man. We women, all we're asking for, we want equity, we want to have a say in things that concerns us, and in the society. When it comes to making policies, when it comes to occupying powerful position, we also want it. And for anyone who stands up like they want to be there, let other women support them, because that's another problem we have.
Women supporting women. We'll come to that in a bit. Joy, please.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but in all of this, I must commend the actions of CSOs, NGOs in the nation. They have done so much when it comes to women empowerment. And I must say this, we've not seen much when it comes to those policies that cascade from government. Is unfortunate. And when we do see an effort, it is often giving you beans when you need rice, or water you need to give you salt. You know, it's not just about coming to a community, you want to do something and you don't know the needs of the people.
Them what do they want.
Exactly. You get people who are talented in hairdressing, you give them sewing machine, and you give them sewing machine
or makeup.
Yeah, you
we need to stop that thing. Makeup.
I don't even understand
I'm tired of seeing people coming for that.
Makeup.
I want people to acquire more of digital
skills.
That is where the world is moving into.
My question.
So when you want to empower people and you start giving them buying makeup, I don't
even understand it. This is Nigeria, the 21st century contemporary Nigeria, that can have hubs where young girls and boys even can go learn how to use computers. It's unfortunate that our curriculum in school is still reflecting what I was taught.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I have it here. I said public schools and tech curriculum. I was actually going to call Ruth Key. She's a cyber security expert, but it's a full house today. I couldn't have her on.
And then we're still working on that kind of curriculum. And when you come out, you tell us how 37% of women do not
computer illiterate.
It's unheard of that this country at this point is not having intentional policies to move us further. And I want
our education system should be overhauled. We all agree.
Serious revamping. And then the new administration that is coming from every facet of political space that you are going to be.
They are listening now because there's a lot of fire under them. So say something.
And apart from, when we talk about this empowerment and getting initiatives that will work, I don't want us to, while we are talking about the women and the girl child and the peculiarities and the challenges they face, I want something everybody would enjoy. Let us have targeted empowerment schemes. It's not just going to the market and distributing 5,000 naira
or sewing machine or grinding machines.
I mean, if I cannot get fuel, for instance, that's about the money that would take me back home, and I would not have achieved anything with your 5,000 naira. Thank you very much. So let's have more intentional policies. And I must commend again civil society organizations and non-governmental organizations for all the work they've been doing.
Swag initiative.
Thank you. And yes, to build up from your point, it's very key that yes, we have this type of initiatives, but beyond that, like we mentioned, we've moved from just doing a one-time give off or one-time approach. We're now focused on sustainability, and we've all, based on our conversation, we've identified that education is the basis. Now, I feel like we all have a responsibility. Yes, there's the responsibility of the government, which they have to play their part. First and foremost, when it comes to funding for education, we are doing abysmally low. Like, it's so bad. Like, it's so bad what is the current funding for education. But then on the individual level, I think that we all have to take on that responsibility, that there's a country that is failing. In my community, what can I do? Exactly. For us, we have the Stand With a Girl education project. And yes, we're not a funded project, but we are actually working with communities to send girls back to school. And for us is that we can play a part. It may not be this grand thing that you are taking 100 million and sending girls to school, but out of your own community, what are you doing? That is what we need to focus on. Yes, you advocate to the government and say this is what you should be doing, but what are you doing? Because when you show people that you've taken that responsibility responsibility. It's easier to trust you when you come and say, this is what we need to get done, because you have led by example. So I think that is something that we really need to look at as well.
Thank you so much. Beautifully said, Halima. Last words, anyone who wants to wrap up? Because
I think in celebration, just to commemorate the Women's Day celebration, a shout out to our special women in the special needs community.
I'm hiding my face for not mentioning it.
I know it's time for us to mention our community. We have a lot of children who are born. But I never say that word, because I was born special. I had a lot. My mother, she did a great job raising me. I was born with many special needs, what you call disabilities turned into abilities in me. That's how I grew my creative genes. And if you check that community, there's so much that we can draw from there. We think, just to tie everything in, I think a lot more support needs to go to that community and every other community that's a minority community in our society. How we can all work together and draw in more support from donor organizations, individuals who have philanthropic desires or capacity to do so. Let's see how we can marry that into all the work that we're doing at the community level, because without resources like computers, like teachers and all of that, we may not be able to achieve the digitalized Nigeria that we really want to see.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You have a message here. So it's a lengthy one. The person has been typing this message for a while. Let me read the name first. Patrick is a constant caller. Thank you so much for your message, Patrick. So it says, Happy International Women's Day to all the women in Nigeria. It says gender discrimination must be checked at every stage so that no person should be denied a chance to learn and grow. Male or female must get a start in life in terms of education and other opportunities. We must come together as a people to do this. He says, Patrick is quite lengthy. Let me just pick the onion, the meat. Similarly, it says it is essential to ensure that they hold on to the very same beliefs till they turn old. We must show them how sports are not gender biased. Further, we must promote equality in the fields of labor. For instance, some believe that women cannot do certain jobs like men. However, that is not the case. We can also get celebrities, which is what you were talking about earlier on board to promote and implant the idea of equality in people's brains. We all agree that we have different genders, but equal rights for everyone is the goal. As a man, I don't let gender be the measure of the potential of women. Women can do everything men can do. Drop the gender mask. Each and every human is equal and must always be treated with equality. Equal rights for both men and women is possible.
Wow.
Very well said, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick.
You have said it all. Joy. Present. All right, so thank you all so much, ladies. I look forward to doing this again from time to time. I hope there's a way that we can even have more conversations like this. And the people on social media, they should join the conversation, because they're carried away with all the dancing and comedy skits. But the real thing is, letting go of the real conversation and showing their, and display. Yeah, I know you.
I'm a strong advocate for digital innovation and gender participation, especially the female gender.
Yes.
Because, like I keep saying, every female individual owe herself the responsibility of being better. I keep saying it because I am in the space and I see opportunities every day women are not leveraging on. The social media and digital platforms are not just for dancing and for watching.
Do you know what? This is what I'll quickly suggest. Tie in Shike so that every opportunity she sees, we can have a platform to start posting, click here, share, because everybody might not be able to get it.
Nobody is accountable for that, but you hold yourself accountable for what you want to be in the nearest future. The job of the next 10 years are not yet there, but for you to get there, you need to start taking some steps. If you start today by learning a language, a programming language, by next year you start with the second one, by the next, so you keep getting better at what you do every day. So don't blame the government, don't blame anybody for your woes. So as a woman, take up the responsibility. Reset your head that you can be anything you want to be.
Well said. Thank you so much, ladies. So I have this small message from the Swag Initiative. They called it The Future in a World of Unequal Fingers. Enjoy the rest of your day, and happy International Women's Day to all.
Yay! Happy International Women's Day. I think we can.
It's time to hear a story.